Ed, how much money do you have in your wallet?
I don't know, maybe about $50. Why?
Where did it come from?
I earned it.
That's not what I mean. I mean, where did the money come from originally?
I guess from banks.
No, that would mean you borrowed it. You said you earned it.
It came from the government?
Right. Where did the government get it?
They issued it based on the amount of gold we have in Fort Knox.
No. We haven't been on the gold standard since 1971. There is no gold backing the US dollar.
You mean the dollar isn't backed by anything?
Not exactly. But let me ask you again. Where does the government get its money?
They print it?
Right. So if they print the money, how does it get to your wallet?
I don't know. I guess through banks.
No. If you got your money through the bank, you borrowed it. We already covered that.
Well, how then?
The government spends the money into the economy. Every time the government buys something from private businesses, or pays government workers wages, it is spending money into the economy.
Yeah, but I earned the money in my wallet. It didn't come from the government.
Where did it come from then?
From whoever I worked for.
Where did they get it?
From whoever they earned it from.
Now we are going in circles. Money had to exist before anyone could earn it. Where did it come from?
From the government?
Okay, so you agree that before anyone had any money, the government had to create and spend it first.
I guess so.
So every year the government spends into the economy a budgeted amount, and at the end of the year it taxes money back out. If taxes are less than spending, we would have a budget deficit. If it taxes more, we would have a surplus.
But we do have budget deficits. That's what's wrong with the economy now.
So budget deficits are bad?
Yes.
Why are they bad?
Because then we have to borrow money to pay for the deficit, and then the government has to raise taxes to pay the money back.
The government creates the money. Why would it borrow back money it previously created? Wouldn't it make more sense to just print more money?
No. That would cause inflation.
Why would that cause inflation?
Because there would be too much money in the economy. That would make money worth less, so we would have inflation.
Maybe. But if the government didn't spend more money into the economy than it taxed out, there would be no money in the economy other than money borrowed from banks. How would you get the money that's in your wallet? Borrow it? And how would that cause inflation?
Good question. This is making my head hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, learning simple things can be hard. So you can see why deficit spending is required for the economy to grow.
I guess so. But we have to borrow to pay for the deficit, and the borrowing is killing the economy.
We are going in circles again. The government doesn't have to borrow. It is the creator of the money. It creates money it will out of thin air as needed. It does not necessarily lead to inflation. That depends on how much spending there is in comparison to available goods and services.
Then why does the government borrow money to pay for the deficit?
The government doesn't borrow money to pay for the deficit. It issues matching treasuries against excess savings to comply with a law passed in another year when the country was on the gold standard.
Then how does the government pay for the deficit?
It doesn't pay for the deficit. It creates new money out of thin air and spends it into the economy.
But that will cause inflation.
We already talked about that earlier. The new money matches population growth and increasing profits earned from selling goods and services in the economy. This is not cause for inflation.
What about the money we owe China?
We don't owe China money. We owe China the goods that money can buy, but China doesn't care to buy them right now. China earned dollars by selling us more stuff than we sold them.
But everyone says we owe China lots of money.
Don't believe what everyone says. China doesn't have enough mattresses to store all of the money they have earned from selling us flat-screen TVs, so they buy treasuries instead for safekeeping.
Okay, but how about the national debt?
What about it?
Don't we have to pay it back by raising taxes?
If we paid it back through taxes, there would be no money left in the economy other than money borrowed from banks. The money in your wallet would not actually be yours.
You're making my head hurt again.
Thinking is hard. That's why we rarely do it.
So what is the national debt?
The national debt is an accounting abstraction. The debt held by the public is the amount of bonds to the penny that the federal government has sold to investors since it began selling bonds. The debt includes all of the bonds held by the public plus all of the bonds held by foreign companies that have done business with the U.S. The national debt is actually savings accounts for dollar holdings. There is no taking it back. Paying off the national debt is impossible, and it makes no logical sense to think of the national debt in the way we have been taught.
You're killing me. There's no way anyone could understand this stuff.
Agreed. Just be assured that the national debt is your friend.